One puff and let's go. Alright, man. In depth analysis. Y'all knew it was coming. John Doe from the highly touted Se7en. This dude was the first criminal, villain, anti-hero, whatever you want to call him, that I liked more than the main cast. He is one of the reasons I gravitated to Jigsaw and Saw. Without further ado, John Doe, y'all. Let's get it. Now, let me explain something about John Doe. I'm going also, this is canon, so it count. I'm going off the comic novel about his early backstory because it relates to the movie. I'm going to get to that before I get to the movie and the scenes and all of those things. I'm going to tap the notes to check out certain things, and we finna get it in. But John Doe, he grew up in a single household, normal. You know what I'm saying? His father died at a young age. His mother was, she kind of remind me of Carrie's mother. She was one of them religious, evangelical ladies, very kind of like a little psychotic with it. And John basically was grown up in that, immersed in it. And he was very religious as a child too. The thing about John that he can be diagnosed with certain things. I don't know the exact names you can call them, psychopath, psychotic, sociopath, whatever it may be. But one thing I do know, what could have played a contributing factor to that was his upbringing. Because it was said that he had horrible, tremendous headaches as a child, in which it was so bad his mother had to give him shock therapy, which was botched. So I think that also internally affected his mind state and his thinking. So he grew up kind of normal as it can get. He wasn't degenerative like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or nothing, but he was more like an antisocial, shut-in kind of guy. He'd go to school, do his work, and that's it. But he had an early infatuation for some females in his younger youth, in which he expressed to his mom. She shunned him down and beat him, saying that they the devil and that's not what it is. So he basically never expressed his outwardly love for women to his mother ever again. He started, which the movie shows in a scene with Somerset and Mills, and when they bust in his apartment to read his journals. That's what he's developed as a teenager, writing in his journals. All of his thoughts flood in his mind, he would jot down on a paper, whether it was constructive day or whether it was just a gibberish day where nothing really happened. He jotted everything down in his life. So then he also discovered his mom was having an affair with his uncle. Now, I'm not clear, was this incestual, meaning his uncle was his mother's brother, or this was his deceased father's brother? Any way it go is wrong, horrible, and it dramatically changed some of the feelings he had about his mother and some of the sins and things that she committed. So he left the house at like about 17, 18. It's not clear. It's later teenage years. So I say from 17 to 19, them your later teenage years. He was still sort of like antisocial, but he was functional. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't some kind of hotshot, pretty boy, top of the class guy, but he passed his classes and he graduated and he actually had a job and he ended up getting a wife. This is what the movie will never, you know what I'm saying, show any aspects of it. But he had a wife who was infertile, which means she couldn't have children, and she also was cheating on him. This broke John, but he still, you know what I'm saying, didn't go to the deep end that he did from the movie. Everything I'm telling y'all is leading up to the movie. This is just his early life and backstory. He also had a normal job in a factory making nice money. He had a dispute with his boss in which it was some moral compass. It wasn't about the job or he lacking or ain't working. It was a moral reason, like religious reason why he felt his boss was wrong, and they had an argument in which he was fired. This is where I think John Doe was like, fuck it. He done with the world. He went back to his mom, like with his tail tucked between his legs, to live with her. Upon coming there, it just so happened this was the day she was committing suicide, burning the house down, burning all his prized possessions, burning his journals. And he came to the house seeing that. And only thing she had when he entered the room, the burning house, was the Seven Deadly Sins book. He took the book and let the house and her burn. So now he's psychologically gone. He tried the normal life. He tried the wife and kid, but the woman couldn't even have kids, and she was an adulterer. His mother sabotaged with all her taboo religious things with his mind and with her sexual deviant acts with his uncle. So now this is one thing about the movie where it's so great. You can interpret things as you want, but this canon, it's facts. You know what I'm saying? Like the cursed child in Harry Potter. People hate that, but that's canon. So you gotta accept it. This is canon, so you gotta accept it. Back to John. This is when I think he was like, he done with life. His wife, you know, so I said that. His mother, that. His father was never around. He had a warped personality from the jump with the headaches from his childhood. This is when I think he just went off the grid and decided, I'm finna make the movie. This is where, when I say I'm finna make the movie, this is when he started thinking, just observing the world on the train or at work through all his life experiences. This is when I think he just said, I'm finna just start making money and make myself independent wealthy. I don't think he ever worked a job after this point. I think he might have did odd jobs, cash paying jobs, jobs where he can work for you, get the money that day, and that's it. Maybe it's a one-time transaction or not. But this is why they say he's independently wealthy. Because I think he hoarded cash from doing jobs for people. And he never had bank accounts. And I forgot to say, when he discovered his mom and uncle having that extramarital affair, is when he was so disgusted and so traumatized. That's the moment where he cut his fingerprints off his hands and toes. That's when he removed all of his dentures from his mouth and he castrated himself so he could never have kids or sexual situations with a woman or a man or anything for himself. So now he really is a blank slate. Whatever he was before his birth name, he's John Doe from this point on now. He's off the grid. He's making money without having to have a bank account or a check stub or an address. And this is when I think he just was doing that and observing the outwardly world as he saw. Seeing sins, adulterers, murderers, rapists, lawyers, judges, civilians. It could be a minor sin. It could be a heavy sin. You know what I'm saying? It could be a lie. It could be a murder. He was experiencing this through years, I think. I think he done this for about 15 to 20 years, just observing, collecting money, getting his mentality right. And that's when we get to the movie, The Seven Deadly Sins of John Kramer. I said John Kramer. I mean that. I'm just Jigsaw. I was talking about him earlier. I meant John Doe. Let me get to the notes. The Seven Deadly Sins first are in the book, in the Bible. They wasn't never highly touted far as do this, do that, like the commandments were. They just something that people gravitated to, and they are gluttony, greed, sloth, pride, envy, and lust. All of them could be great things, and they all could fuck you over if you use them in moderation or you overindulge in them. And when you talk about a movie, first, second, and third act, every act of this movie is eye-popping, jarring, and unbelievable. I'm going to go to the kills now. The gluttony, the fat guy. And I know John Doe had a monologue at the end of the movie where he explained why he chose who he chose. But the first scene with the gluttony, to open a scene like that, first scene of a movie, like I said with Jigsaw, and I ain't even finna bring him up no more. But it's movies and moments where you like, this nigga different. This shit different. And then when you hear, you know what I'm saying, Detective Mills, Detective Mills, which is Brad Pitt. Morgan Freeman is Detective Somerset. John Doe is Kevin Spacey. I'm not talking about the characters, just about John Doe. But them two are going to be getting brought up now, because I'll hit the backstory, now I'm in the movie part. Detective Mills at the first crime scene just looking around like a detective, like a homicide detective. He just think a fat man was murdered or maybe somewhat tortured. Somerset is a psychological detective where it's a name for this kind of detective, but he ain't just going after a robber or a murderer. He go after psychological killers. He the kind of guy that goes after, you know what I'm saying, Hannibal Lecter type of guys. He's psychological. He intellectual. He go after intellectual serial killer based type of criminals. So he looking at the scene, evaluating it, looking around, and he noticed this dude was feeding him to death, left the house, came back and refed him. So not only did he think this out, he was so brazen and bold, he knew he wasn't going to get caught. This different. This is how Somerset is interpreting it. If this is just Mills the whole way, we wouldn't get the psychological parts from John Doe without Somerset, because he basically given us the personality through every kill of what he feel John Doe mentality or situation was to commit these acts. Now I'm gonna go to the Greed, the lawyer. This was kind of bogus. The lawyer, he might have got some rapists and murderers off, and that's bad, but overall he doing his fucking job. He ain't like he tampering with evidence or hiding evidence to win these cases. It's never suggested that. He's just a greedy lawyer who's so good at his job he happened to get murderers off, and he get a pound of flesh took out of his ass from that. They say John Doe must have waited the whole weekend and had fun with this dude. So now you thinking even more. Man, goddamn, a pound of flesh? I mean, this nigga really is biblical. Like, he took that shit literal. Let's move on. When you get to sloth, and these killings, I wrote them down a certain way. That don't mean that's the way they happen in the movie. I'm just finna go through how I was interpreting it, and that's why I think different from a movie. I think about the lights, the setting, the background animations. I mean, the background characters, pictures in the background. Do the kids look like they could be related to the real parents? We know they all actors, but do the kids look close enough to the parents? I look at all those kind of details, and this movie give you that info. You could watch this movie right now and be like, damn, I've seen this movie 1,000 times. I never seen that little thing right there. Woo woo. Back to it. The sloth when he had the adulterer. This dude is a normal guy. He just cheating on his wife. Not good, no doubt. But John Doe perspective is I take every sin, light sins or major sins, they all equal. Dude got him a fucking penis dick and made him, you know what I'm saying, have sex with the lady. So he basically traumatized him and killed her. Like I said, fam, this take time to do. You ain't doing this in 1 or 2 days. This take cunning. This take money. It take patience. It take manipulation. I mean, this is all some of the traits. Let me get to some of his traits. I just said a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? He highly intelligent. He got money. You know what I'm saying? This take time to commit some of these crimes. And I'm not glorifying it like, yay, that's good. I'm just saying. He perfecting his craft in the most horrendous way that only the devil can appreciate. The pride. The fine-ass arrogant motto. He said itself. I couldn't say it better. You rather die than not look beautiful. That was kind of stupid. You caused that on yourself. I ain't saying she deserved it because she was kidnapped. She was, you know what I'm saying, tortured and put in a situation that she didn't have no business being in. But damn it, this is an easy game right here. Either you gonna have a disfigured face or you gonna die. She chose the money because that's how she make her money, from her beauty. So she died, and I felt nothing about that, to be honest. Then we get to envy. This is where people kind of feel like it lost them. That's why I had to explain his backstory. People feel like, why the fuck would John Doe envy a nigga like Detective Mills? But if you looking from the movie perspective, I'm with you. He has nothing in the movie that says he would envy anybody, especially Detective Mills, who he really kind of don't respect as much as he respects Somerset. But if you know his backstory, all John Doe ever wanted to do was be a loving husband, God-fearing, normal person. All those things was took out of his life. The woman, cheater and couldn't have kids. The mother sabotaged his religious mind. No father. Society, his bosses never understood him. His childhood, he never had a girlfriend or I don't think he ever, I don't even think he ever had sexual intercourse with a woman. They say he was a masturbator back in the day. So I see why he would envy somebody like Mills. He got a wife, beautiful wife, Gwyneth Paltrow from the Iron Man franchise in Marvel. You know what I'm saying? She's pregnant, which he never could accomplish because his wife was infertile. So if you know the full history of him, it would make sense why he kind of envy him. And then with the Wrath, what's in the fucking box? When I seen that, they showed a little flash of Gwyneth Paltrow's face. It's like, oh my God. He telling Mills like, I envied your life, you know what I'm saying? To be a normal man, normal wife, normal family. You got dog, you got 2 dogs, you got a wife, a baby on the way. I wanted that really low key my whole life. So since I didn't get it, I took a souvenir. Her head. So when you think about it, I don't want to get perverted or nothing like that with this. But when he say, I wanted to taste the life of a simple man, your mind can only think what he's saying. Like, what you mean you want to taste? Did he make dinner with her? Did he try to have sex with her? Did he beat her? Like, what is his idea of tasting a married life? Anything could have happened in that situation. Horrifying things. That's why it's better left unsaid. They say show no, don't tell. And that's true. But in certain situations, the don't show is crazy. It's like your mind can say anything he did that day. Whatever you want to think he did to her, that's what he did. And it don't matter what if he didn't do nothing to her. He killed her and cut her head off. So whatever he did to her that she experienced before death can't be no better than how her death was. Like this dude, I don't know how you can't be Wrath. Like they say during the movie, because they almost catch John Doe. I'm not talking about the movie. This is strictly about John Doe. But I will dive into this scene. When they kind of get on to John Doe's house, John Doe get the dumping. Get the dumping at them. It's just like the middle act side big chase. They Mills and Somerset chasing them all through the building everywhere. And you can see how dead the building is. They shooting in rooms, kids don't care, people not reacting. He running through people's houses, nobody give a fuck. That's a play on the movie. It's rainy all movie, it's damp and dark. Everything John Doe saying is like, fam, you could kill a motherfucker on the street, nobody would care. They just walk by you. I know Somerset was saying, fam, this dude beat somebody up in the street, shot him 2 times and then stuck knives in his eyes. Down the street from the police station. Like, this how this city is. You know what I'm saying? So when they get to that scene, John Doe escaping, he getting out of there. That's when he basically could have killed Mills right there, but he saved it. But the point I'm making overall is, I don't know if he intentionally from the jump planned on Mills being part of the 7 sins. But when they almost are apprehended him, they bust in his house, they probably fucked up his plans to where he had to readjust it on the fly. Because he called him like, yeah, I know y'all in the crib. I just have to set my schedule back a couple days. And I don't know if he got multiple people that he was going to pick for every particular test or every particular scene, but how he did it with Wrath, making Brad Pitt, Mills, making him the Wrath, you gotta understand that. In this kind of case, it's like a crime of passion. I don't know how you can convict Mills for murder. This man broke in his house, killed his wife, cut her head off, and sent it in a box. Like, what? I think 9 humans, man or woman or whatever race, 9 humans out of 10 would have blown his head off too. But that's to my point. He's so calculated. He know how to pick his subjects. He know what will make them tick. He knew if he would have picked Somerset to be Wrath, that ain't going. Somerset too intellectually powerful and talented to go for that. But Mills, hot-headed, he kicked in the door without a search warrant. All that's really admissible until he turned himself in. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew who to pick. You know what I'm saying? Dude is... Man, like I said before, man, John Doe is the man. Like, let me look at some more notes real quick. Oh, yeah. This one thing that kind of scared the fuck out of me, and I wasn't no damn baby. I was about 15, 16, I don't know, whatever. That dude, he got the sloth killing. That drug dealing pederast. I felt nothing for him. Maybe that's a sin in us, or humans, or me. The lack of empathy. This dude was not only a drug dealer fucking the community up. Get your money. I ain't really bad on that, but it's just not good. But the pedophile part, god damn it. I always be thinking, jail ain't enough for a pedophile. You need a worser stage of Dante's hell. This was it. Because when I seen how he did dude, it was like, fuck. I don't even know if a pedophile deserved this. Dude had this nigga kidnapped him, had him basically captured to the bed, like handcuffed down, gagged mouth. But also, this is where his psychology is on another level. His sociopath is on another level. He paid this man rent for an entire year. He took pictures of this man every few weeks, every month, to show the deterioration and the decay of this man's body. The man was in so much pain, he was shooting him up with drugs, shooting him up with all kind of stuff, enough to torture him but keep him alive. I'm talking about his body looked like a corpse, decomposing. They said he bit his tongue out of agony and pain to try to kill himself. That still didn't work. Like, the suffering this dude went through, it tells you how John Doe different. For one, I couldn't walk in the room and keep observing this body. Like, this is not normal, fam. Like, you gotta see the scenes in the movie, most of y'all probably have, to get this. The smell of it, the look of it, the way you seen a normal human 1 month to a year later, he was enjoying this shit. He took pictures of it. Like, he paid this man rent for a year. What? Paying rent for a year is an adult thing, no doubt. Nothing should be... You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's something big. No, that ain't nothing big. But paying somebody rent for a year to commit your crime, that's fucking different. You could pay your rent, your mistress rent, your mama rent. Good for you. But you paying rent just to conceal your identity in crime, that's different, fam. That ain't normal. When I seen that, I was just like, how the fuck they gonna top this? And then that's when you get to the what's in the box. That's a meme. It's classic. It's iconic. Like, John Doe. That's the guy. That's about it. For all y'all who don't understand his backstory, I told y'all. He had a traumatic childhood. Bad headaches. A botched shock therapy. All those things. His mama warping his mind. He never had a fancy way with the ladies. I mean, all these societal outcasts, they might commit suicide sometime. RIP to the suicide victims. But sometime, you might create something worser. A monster. And this is what you get.